Welcome on back to Skippers, and the day is finally here. Opening day is happening tomorrow, so I have must-add players for week 1 of the fantasy baseball season. Obviously, the games haven't started yet, but there have been some players that got more favorable when it comes to either lineups or where they're pitching in the rotation, so they are in much better positions. And I have 9 must-add players to add before the season. Today's episode of Skippers is brought to you by FanDuel Canada. If you are looking to bet on baseball this season, click the link in the description and sign up today. FanDuel Canada, where I'm going to be betting on baseball all season. The first player, Jared Jones of the Pirates. Right now, 10% rostered. I went through his Zips projections, so everything you're going to see on the screen here with the stats are the projections from Zips for these players for the full season. So his projections sit at 6-7, a 4.46 ERA, 106 strikeouts, 119 innings pitched, and a whip of 135. When you look at Jared Jones this spring training, he allowed no earned runs in 16 innings pitched. He had 15 strikeouts, and he makes Pittsburgh's opening day roster as what they say is going to be their 5th starter. His four-seam fastball has been up to 101. He has a great slider. He could dominate right away when it comes to strikeouts. I think there will be some struggles for the rookie pitcher, but he has giant upsides and the strikeout ability is definitely there. Pretty traditional 4-pitch mix from Jared Jones. Heavy dose of fastball and the slider, like I said before. This season, the small sample size in spring training, fastball 49% of the time, slider 38% of the time, then mix in a curveball and changeup under 8% of the time on both of those. Looking at his fastball, Jones added 1.5 miles an hour on his fastball after this offseason and an inch of induced vertical break from last season to this. Thrown over 120 innings in a season before, so I think we can get 150 innings if they keep him in the rotation the whole time. Maybe it'll be a swap with Paul Skeens at some point to switch them out from each other, but Jared Jones right now has a rotation spot, so I'll be picking him up in all categories. The next person who had a great spring leading into a rotation spot now is Gavin Stone of the Dodgers. He's 43% rostered, looking at his Zips projections for this season. 6-5, a 4.46 ERA, 115 strikeouts in 115 innings, and a whip of 132. He has a spot in this Dodgers rotation, and he was one of the best, I don't know, you could say surprises, but it was a nice story coming out of camp. We've seen a lot of him already in decent spots because we saw him have an outing in Korea, and then he started a game in the Freeway Series where he got hit around a little bit, but it's the same thing. He is a starter on the Dodgers, and unfortunately in categories, wins is still a category that you need to fill, and when you have a team that is this good, I think you want a piece of the rotation. So if he's going to throw significant innings, he's going to have a decent strikeout rate. Maybe he's the guy that gets taken off when like Kershaw comes back at some point, but for now, he is firmly in this Dodgers rotation. He has the upper hand to a lot of innings. He'll need to prove himself to stick in his spot, but for now, Gavin Stone of the Dodgers is a pickup. We go to the most highly rostered player of this video, and that's Tyler O'Neill of the Red Sox, 57% rostered. Usually I like to stay under 40, but you look at his Zips projections, 268 average, 16 home runs, 60 runs batted in, 9 stolen bases, and 57 runs. He's an absolute monster when he is healthy, and that is pretty much the only question mark when it comes to Tyler O'Neill. The right-handed mega power and the green monster at Fenway seem to be a match made in heaven, and I think Tyler O'Neill is due for a huge season. I had him in some of the draft videos as well, so I know that he is 57% rostered, but I think it's going to be a hot start out to the season for Tyler O'Neill. So if you want him, you got to get him now, because I think within the first 2 weeks, they'll be like, okay, Tyler O'Neill is hitting 1 million home runs at Fenway here, and he's stealing some bases, and he's back to the caliber he was 3 seasons ago, I believe, when he was fully healthy and put on a massive, massive number. I think you could have a season so big that they might even deal him at the deadline if things shake out how they seem to shake out, with the Red Sox kind of being bad, what their front office seems to want them to be. He had a home run 2 days ago in exhibition play against the Rangers, and I'm all in on Tyler O'Neill this season, so if you haven't drafted him and you're in a shallow league, at least pick him up. The next player, Jordan Westberg, infielder for the Orioles. He is 32% rostered. Looking at his projections, a 249 average, 17 home runs, 71 driven in, 8 stolen bases, and 74 runs. Westberg is the often forgotten about piece of this Orioles set of prospects, and at least for now, with Kobe Mayo being sent down and Holiday starting in the minors, he's going to be playing every day at third base. Westberg had great numbers in the minors last season. He is still only 25 years old. He is in such a great lineup, and he has the awesome second base, third base split eligibility. The projections for Westberg are great. I don't like to take them too much into account. It's basically filler here to fill up the player cards that we have, but the talent is obviously there. This is a steal of a player you can get for free if you are in leagues. So take us up on that offer. Get your free player in this awesome Orioles lineup that is going to make a big impact. I'm very excited for what Jordan Westberg can do this season. Moving on to Jordan Hicks. He is a relief relief pitcher for the Giants, 23% rostered. He is a relief pitcher in the sense of what he's being called on fantasy platforms, but you look at his ZiPS projections, 9-8, a 3.66 ERA, 158 strikeouts and 145 innings pitched, and a whip of 136. I would have him over Gavin Stone of people I'd want to pick up from this video, but let's welcome back starting pitcher Jordan Hicks. In this spring, Jordan Hicks had 28 strikeouts in 17 innings pitched, including a 10 strikeout, 20 whiff performance in 5 innings against the A's 2 nights ago. Hicks is known for his explosive fastball, and he was sitting 96-98, and he threw 50 pitches. It will be interesting to see how he is deployed, as they seem to be giving him a locked-in rotation spot. So the upside is super high. If they move him back to the pen, he loses a ton of value. Obviously, they have Camilo Doval, who's going to be closing games. So as long as Jordan Hicks is a starter and things seem to be going decently well, the arm talent is too much to not give a shot. I'll be picking up Jordan Hicks. The next ad is Jake Fraley of the Reds. He is 21% rostered. His projections, a 250 average, 17 home runs, 73 driven in, 20 stolen bases, and 56 runs. Injuries have been the talk of the Red spring training. Injuries and steroids, obviously, but there have been some playing time open up for 2 players I really like, and that is Christian Encarnacion Strand and Jake Fraley. Jake Fraley has the upside of a 20 home run, 20 stolen base player, thanks to all his new playing time. When you look at Jake Fraley, he hits in an awesome park. He's in a really good lineup, and now he has every day at bats. If you aren't picking up Jake Fraley and you think he's not that good, I think you need to reevaluate. Pick up Jake Fraley. The next one, Joel Payamps of the Brewers, 51% rostered. Looking at his projections, 4-3, a 3.71 ERA, 65 strikeouts in 66 innings with 11 saves. Let's get to the saves help, closer help. I also like Jimmy Garcia in a similar situation where the everyday closer is down, but I'm going to go a more priority ad with Joel Payamps because I don't know how they're going to deploy Jimmy and Chad Green for the Blue Jays. Joel Payamps, fantastic slider, returned huge numbers on it last season. Okay, fastball, the numbers weren't great on it, but we aren't going to see Devin Williams till it seems halfway through the season at best. So I'll be picking up Joel Payamps if I need some helps with saves early. Our second last one, Jake Cronenworth of the Padres, 24% rostered. His ZiPS projections, a 250 average, 15 home runs, 74 driven in, 6 stolen bases, and 78 runs. We might be overlooking the easiest bounce back on the board, who hits between 2 great players at a position is probably the easiest to be durable in, and Jake Cronenworth, all because he had a horrible season last year. It might just be caused due to injuries. The fun pickup for this Padres team is Jackson Merrill, but let's not overthink things. Cronenworth has the big deal. He has the most playing time, hitting in the middle of the lineup instead of the bottom. And we already got to see from Jake Cronenworth just an improvement in the Soul Series. Cronenworth in the second game of the Soul Series went 4 for 4 with a triple, a double, 2 runs, 4 driven in. If you look at the last 3 seasons before his awful 2023, he had a weighted runs created plus of 126, 117, and 110. And although it was a decline, those are still very good numbers. Maybe the injuries caught up to Jake Cronenworth last year, but it's a very real possibility of a big 2024 bounce back. Lastly, if you like prospects, you will like this pickup, and that is Victor Scott II of the Cardinals, 11% rostered. His projections have him at a 248 average, 6 home runs, 59 driven in, 46 stolen bases, and 72 runs. I think the 46 stolen bases is low, as if he's going to play every single day. Victor Scott has a very similar profile to that of Yesteri Ruiz. The numbers at the plate are actually worse than him during a season. That isn't great, but every single time Victor Scott's going to get on base, he is going to try and be on second immediately. Victor Scott had 94 stolen bases in the minors last season while hitting over 300. He gets the nod as the opening day center fielder thanks to an injury to Dylan Carlson and Lars Nootbaar, and you need to roster him in category leagues where you punted on steals. We saw the rate that Ruiz stole bags at last season, and I think Victor Scott can do the same thing. I do think playing time will be a concern when everyone is healthy, but for now, let's take the free steals. Thank you to the first rendition of must-add players this season. Let me know some other guys you are picking up for week 1. And enjoy opening day tomorrow. All our hard work is finally going to pay off. I will see you guys next week.